She was the face of Hollywood's golden age, Natalie Wood, the starlet who had it all. Until one night, everything changed. For over 40 years, her mysterious death haunted fans and investigators alike. But now, a shocking family confession is cracking the case wide open. At 79, Lana Wood breaks her silence, revealing she begged Natalie to leave Robert Wagner just days before tragedy struck. What was Natalie running from? What secrets were buried at sea? The truth is darker than anyone imagined. Stay with us. This is a story you'll never forget. Born Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko on July 20, 1938, in San Francisco, California, Natalie Wood came from Russian immigrant parents. Her mother, Maria, was fiercely ambitious, not for herself, but for her daughter. She believed Natalie was born for fame and shaped her entire life around that belief. She even changed the family name to Gurdon and chose Wood after director Sam Wood, hoping it would bring her daughter luck in Hollywood. By the age of 4, Natalie had landed her first film role in Happy Land. But it was her performance as Susan Walker in the holiday classic Miracle on 34th Street at just 8 years old that made her a star. Behind her big screen charm was a childhood filled with pressure. Her mother was notoriously controlling. If Natalie couldn't cry on cue, Maria would whisper disturbing lies to provoke tears, once even claiming the family dog had died just to get the performance she wanted. Natalie later admitted she feared disappointing her mother more than anything. As she transitioned from child star to teen actress, Natalie fought to break free from the sweet girl image. Her defining moment came in 1955 with Rebel Without a Cause, where she starred alongside James Dean. Playing the emotionally vulnerable Judy, Natalie proved she could tackle mature, complex roles. The performance earned her an Academy Award nomination at just 17. Her on-screen relationship with Dean mirrored a real-life bond. Though the nature of their connection was never publicly defined, James Dean's tragic death deeply affected her. Over the years, Natalie Wood delivered unforgettable performances in films like Splendor in the Grass, Love with the Proper Stranger, Gypsy, and West Side Story, where she portrayed Maria, a role etched into cinema history. Though she didn't sing her own parts, her acting brought warmth and realism that captivated audiences. Critics praised her for her emotional depth and poise, while her co-stars admired her professionalism. Yet, behind that polished exterior, she battled insecurities, anxiety, and depression, struggles she kept mostly private. Later, in a heartbreaking revelation, Lana Wood, sister to the late Natalie Wood, disclosed a secret that had been buried for decades. She revealed that as a teenager, Natalie had been sexually assaulted by a powerful Hollywood actor. The meeting, orchestrated by their mother in hopes of advancing Natalie's career, ended in unimaginable trauma. Though Natalie never named her assailant publicly, Lana later identified him as Kirk Douglas, one of the most prominent stars of the time, a revelation that shook the foundations of Hollywood's golden era. Amidst personal pain and professional pressure, Natalie longed for love and stability. At just 18, she was introduced to rising actor Robert Wagner on what was originally a studio-arranged publicity date. But the chemistry was undeniable, and by 1957, at age 19, she married Wagner, who was 8 years her senior. They quickly became Hollywood's golden couple, adored by fans and followed by the press. But their picture-perfect romance was hiding cracks. Behind the glitz were rumors of jealousy, career competition, and infidelity. In 1962, their marriage ended in divorce. Though deeply painful, Natalie later admitted the separation was necessary for her to rediscover herself. She later married producer Richard Gregson, and in 1970 gave birth to daughter Natasha Gregson Wagner. That marriage, too, ended in divorce in 1972. Yet, Robert Wagner was never far from her life. That same year, Natalie and Wagner remarried. They had another daughter, Courtney Wagner, and tried to rebuild. But the calm wouldn't last. In November 1981, they set out for a holiday weekend aboard the yacht Splendor near Santa Catalina Island with actor Christopher Walken and Captain Dennis Davern. The trip turned tense. Alcohol, jealousy, and an emotional storm were brewing, one that would end in tragedy. Late that night, an argument reportedly erupted between Natalie and Wagner. Davern would later say he heard things being thrown, shouting, and a fight at the back of the boat. Around 1:30 a.m., Natalie was missing, and so was the yacht's dinghy. Instead of immediately calling for help, Wagner waited. Hours passed before authorities were alerted. At 7:45 a.m. on November 29th, Natalie's body was found floating near the shore. She was wearing a nightgown, a down jacket, and socks. The dinghy was nearby. She had bruises on her arms and legs and a cut on her cheek. The initial ruling: accidental drowning. The theory was that she tried to leave the yacht alone and fell, but almost no one close to her believed that story. Natalie Wood was terrified of dark water, a fear she spoke about often. Friends couldn't fathom her getting into a dinghy by herself, in the middle of the night, wearing sleepwear, and inebriated. Years later, Davern changed his story. He now claimed Wagner delayed the search, discouraged him from calling the Coast Guard, and showed signs of anger toward Natalie before she vanished. These claims, coupled with growing public pressure, led the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to reopen the case in 2011. New witnesses emerged. Some claimed they heard a woman screaming for help that night. In 2012, the coroner amended Natalie's cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors. And in 2018, Robert Wagner was officially named a person of interest. Still, no charges have ever been filed. Wagner refused to cooperate with the reopened investigation. Christopher Walken, while interviewed, maintained he heard nothing and stayed out of the spotlight. Meanwhile, Natalie's daughter Natasha has remained loyal to Wagner, publicly defending him and calling him the only father she's ever known. In her 2020 documentary, Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, she expressed belief in his innocence and criticized the media for turning a tragedy into a spectacle. But Lana Wood, the sister who once stayed silent to protect her nieces, finally broke. She had once hoped staying quiet would preserve family ties. But in 2018, she publicly accused Wagner of involvement in Natalie's death. She said, "I begged her to leave him. I told her she didn't want to be with him anymore." In her memoir, Little Sister, Lana claims Wagner, in a drunken rage, may have struck Natalie, and when things went too far, panicked and covered it up. According to Lana, Wagner blacklisted her, cut ties with the family, and ensured she had no contact with Natasha or Courtney. Despite the backlash, she felt it was time to speak up. 4 decades after Natalie Wood's death, the case remains open, the questions unanswered. The truth, if it exists, is buried beneath layers of silence, fear, and Hollywood image control. What happened that night remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American pop culture. Was it an accident? A tragic fight? Or something more sinister? We may never know. But what's clear is that Natalie Wood was more than a Hollywood icon. She was a woman shaped by pressure, marked by trauma, searching for peace, and taken far too soon. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.